Introduce yourself.
Yeah, who are we with today?
Well, my name is Stefan Tim, and I'm a bowyer. That's a name
Bowyer, is that what you call it?
That's the name for a bow maker.
There you go.
And I make bows and arrows, and I'm located in the Netherlands. And bowyer is a term for somebody who makes bows, and the fletcher is somebody who makes arrows, and the arrowsmith is somebody who makes arrowheads. So it's like a medieval terms, that sort of stuff.
That's cool.
Right, okay.
So I call myself a bowyer, and I'm also a student of history. I'm a history teacher at a school over here. So I do lots of stuff with archery and history. That's really cool.
Good combination. Work
Yeah.
What led you to bows?
Oh man, that's a
Long story?
long story. Yeah, I think the first time I saw bows on like movies, like Lord of the Rings or Robin Hood, of course, Prince of Thieves, with Kevin Costner, that really inspired me. And
That historically accurate film?
Yeah, that's right. And I just saw those films, and I always those arrows flew like that, so straight, and I thought, man, I'd love to shoot those arrows and those bows and recreate them or get close to them. And so I spent loads of time on the internet looking at pictures of those bows, and also lots of other stuff related to archery. And then I just started to make, and all of my school books from my teenage years were all filled with drawings of bows and arrows. While the teacher was giving his class, I was just
you're like, this is what I want to be doing.
So all those shapes went into my head, and then I just started to make. And my dad, he's like a technician. He works in power plants, and he can fix anything, so he just lays underneath a car and he can fix the car, no problem. So that always inspired me to make stuff as well. And he had a workshop at his home where I could start off, and by that time I was like 12 or 13 years old, cutting branches in the night, in the neighborhood, and doing some illegal stuff. But that's how it all started. And slowly the archery world became bigger and bigger because of the internet, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm 33 years old now, and there wasn't a lot of articles or information about making these bows back then. So I spent lots of hours on the internet, and there were a couple of forums, I think you call them. Great stuff where everybody put on their projects and what they were working on, and that really inspired me. And you learn so much just by observing and looking, and then trying to figure out how do they do that, or how did they make those bows, like in museums, that sort of stuff. And I just got drawn, I wanted to make those bows, and especially the archery, practicing those with those bows and shooting them. It's almost like a mystical art,
awesome.
like what could be simpler than just a simple stick with a string attached and one little arrow, and you just hurl it hundreds of meters in the air. It just mystified me. How is that possible?
Yeah.
It is crazy simple when you look at it, and we'll get into it more. I know it's not as simple as we're making out, but a stick with a bit of string on it is really what
that's
it
the
is,
basic
right?
principle.
And that's how thousands of years of people fed themselves, protected lands, done with a
fought
stick,
wars.
fought wars with a stick with a bit of string on it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And is it that simplicity, the historic side of it, that really drew you in?
Both. I really like, making stuff with your hands. Woodworking always attracted me. Making cutting boards or tables, that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of people who make things in their shed, their garage, they understand that once you're in your own little world, you know. Everything around you just disappears, and you can just focus on one little thing, trying to detail or working stuff out. And it's a great place to put your creativity and your mind. And that's something in woodworking, but also in practicing the archery. Yeah.
And you were exposed to that quite young, though, weren't you? Just tinkering when you were younger.
Yeah.
And then being able to learn as you get older.
Yeah. So, you can think of, you know, experience. You can have 20 years of experience. That can either say a lot or nothing, right? You can have 20 years of experience working something that might not be actually what you wanted to make, or not that good, or you can you learn from teenage years and onward. So this company I started, Bamboo Bows, is 3 years. It's 3 years ago. I really started doing this. Semi-professionally. Yeah.
Good for you.
And how's that journey looked? I know you're obviously on the chase to become full-time. You're only 3 years into it. How's that journey looked so far? Because there's a lot of uncertainty starting, right?
Sure. Well, the biggest, of course, is for everybody, I think, financial stability, right? So you all want safety in your own home and, you know, don't lose your house, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly getting, step by step, getting to the point where I want to be. And I also, it's not like I hate my job, you know. I really love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that as well. So it's always a balance between family, work, and your passions.
Yeah, quite.
And, well, this is my passion, and my work is teaching.
Yeah.
And I love my work, but this is something I want to do the rest of my life. And I knew that from the age of 12, you know. I thought, this is what I want to do. And it doesn't matter if I'm working for hundreds of jobs for clients who want bows, or I'm just making them for myself.
You just know you want to do
I want to do it.
That's a really nice place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, you know. If this becomes my full time, that's my dream.
Yeah.
But if not, you know, it's my dream to make my own kit, my own bows, my own.
You still do it regardless.
You're not
inside.
There's
still this little boy, you know, and wants to, you know, shoot in
keep
the woods,
the little boy alive.
that sort of stuff. Yeah. So
I think we should do that more often.
Keep the little boy, the little girl inside us alive.
Yeah. Don't grow up.
Don't grow up.
Here's the takeaway: don't grow up. That's a good. Yeah. What do you think you were quite lucky to find so early on something you were so passionate about?
Well, to me, it's like a. How do you say that? English is not my native language, so
that's okay.
It becomes natural.
Yeah.
So I never really had put any thought in it, so it just came. But I imagine, you know, a lot of people struggling or thinking about what I want to do later on in life, and I see that with my students in school, you know, so. They want to be a millionaire, influencer, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing these days.
Yeah. They want to do as little for as much money as possible. And, well, it's possible, but not for everybody.
Yeah.
We talk about this quite a lot. Like, when did it become not cool to do hard work? Like, I always grew up thinking, like, it's cool to do hard work. Like hard work and working a lot is cool.
Or something you're passionate about.
That's what I mean, like find something you're passionate about and work really hard, and that's how you'll make a living. And it seems like now it's... And it doesn't go for everybody. I'm very conscious in what I'm saying doesn't apply to probably anyone that listens to this podcast, but it seems to be everyone just wants to do the bare minimum.
Yeah, but it's also, you're looking on Instagram or Facebook and social media, and you see everybody having success, sort of, you know. And you want to compete with that, but you can't compete with 100 people or 1,000 people or whoever you're following. There's look at your own struggles, you know. And that's something I see with the youth a lot, you know, in my day job. And, well, it's something they have to deal with, and I didn't have to because, you know, it was like Hives. This is sort of a Dutch Facebook, that sort of stuff. Right. But no Instagram, or just started. So there's a different type of pressure, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And well, of course, working hard is nothing wrong with that. But well, I think a lot of young people want to have it easy and think, I'm gonna make it. And that's possible, but find something you're passionate about, and it will come to you. So.
I think it's a lot easier to make it if you're really passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah,
a
of
lot
course.
easier.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're working all day and all night. If it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are always gonna be downsides. I don't like to do the administration, that sort of stuff, and all the emails and whatever. But that's only part of the day. Just 1 hour of the day, and then it's done.
Yep. And then you can go back to doing the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this. I think one of our like biggest goals or markers of success is making enough money with We Are Makers to pay someone to deal with our emails.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's
Right.
success. Like the boring emails that we get a lot of great emails that we would always deal with, but there's always like the general admin emails or chasing orders, the really important stuff, but it's not the creative stuff.
Yeah.
And like my marker for success is, can we afford someone to just deal with that stuff?
Yeah.
Because that'd be great.
Yeah.
Like that's what you want to do.
Yeah. For me, it's hard to outsource that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
because people come to me with different designs or different
They need to speak to you about
options.
that.
Yeah. So I make a lot of different designs, and sometimes I do a little bit of adjustment. But do you want a leather handle? Do you want birch bark on the back, or do you want a stain? Or that are all the options. So it takes a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't mind that, but it's a little bit more work. Yeah.
So,
It's important to say as well, all your bows are one of one, aren't they? They're all custom, they're all for customers, they're all...
Yeah, I rarely make things in stock because time is limited, and I'd rather work on one bow that I know is gonna go to somebody who really wants it and really...
it's already invested in it.
Right, and he or she has a type of image of what it should be, and I have that as well, and that interaction is a lot of fun. And you can have 20, 30, 50 bows in stock and just choose from whatever. But I like to do a little bit of customization. That's
It must also be really nice for you, because I'd imagine the people that are... It's so hyper niche, like bamboo bows. It's so, like we're
Correct.
so down the rabbit hole at this point. And the people that are contacting you, going out their way to find you to make their bow, like there's not a lot of you. Like we know a lot of makers, we don't know a lot of you. We don't know a lot of bowers, right? It must be really nice to have those interactions with people that are as passionate about bows as you are, because they're willing to part with their hard-earned money for it, right?
Yeah.
That must be really rewarding.
It is, and especially if you see, my bows are sold worldwide, so New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa, and America, and Europe. And it's amazing that everybody has different ideas and thoughts about what they're going to do with it. Horseback archery or 3D archery that's in the woods, shooting at life-size targets. And that's could be a plastic bear or a little hog or whatever. Or you can really hunt with them, because ultimately they're deadly weapons. It's a sporting good, but it's you can use it for hunting as well. So a few years ago, I got some emails from people who bought my bow, went out in the States and hunted with them.
Oh wow!
And I got some great pictures of
so
hunting
good
with
to
a
see.
deer, that sort of stuff. So it's amazing to see that ancient technology still works, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That must be really rewarding for you. Like hunting aside, whether you're listening to this and you're for hunting or against hunting,
Right.
That's still someone who's sent up. They've been able to feed their family
Right.
from something you've made. Like that's really cool in my book.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
must be really rewarding.
It is. I feel proud in that moment. Not necessarily, you say correctly, if you're pro or against hunting. It's just really cool to see somebody who was passionate about those bows the same way as you are.
Yeah.
Really connecting with that. And that's something.
Do you remember the first bow you sold? What was the feeling like?
The first bow I sold, oh man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Where'd it go?
Somewhere here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere.
Started local.
No idea where it went.
No.
Sometimes I see my bows in competitions here in
really?
this country,
Okay.
so it's a lot of fun, you know. That looks a little bit like, that's
It
my
is.
bow.
That's cool.
That's cool to see, yeah. But oldest bow I sold, I think, was when I was 15 or 16. And
Oh, wow.
oh man, it was just... It's a simple longbow design, like an English longbow laminated with bamboo and hardwoods. And I think I asked 300 euros for it, like a pretty low amount for a longbow. But I was 15. For
Yeah, I was
me,
about
it's
to
a
say
lot
not
of
bad.
money.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
I could go to town with that. So, but that's probably the first bow I sold, and then later on it became from longbows to bamboo-backed flat bows, and then I started working on those Japanese bows.
Yep.
And then later on, horn bows like you have here on the table. So all different types and designs. Yeah.
Do you have a favourite?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's my own design, the Orion.
Right, okay.
Orion.
Yeah.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
So this is an Orion. I always call it Orion, but it's like
Orion.
a Dutch pronunciation.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite because it's my own design, and I reinvent or remake lots of stuff like those Egyptian bows or yumis, but that's cultural. It's a design that's fitting in the different history and culture. And this is something I really invented or made. And this is actually an incorporation of different ideas in one bow. So basically, for those who don't know how a bow works, this is a bow that's unstrung, because you don't string up a bow and leave it, because the tension in the wood and in the material will lose strength over time.
Okay.
With modern materials, that's not the case, but this is all natural materials, so horn, wood, and bamboo. And this is a bamboo back, which I treated with smoke and a stain. And the core is made out of different types of hardwood and bamboo, which you cannot see unless you saw the bow in half or something.
Yeah.
And on the belly side is a piece of horn. And this is gemsbok horn. It's oryx. It's a known species in Africa. Not the endangered type. That's not allowed, but just gemsbok is very common.
Yeah, they're just like an antelope, aren't they? They're just
they're
like what a deer would be to us in Africa. There's just hundreds of them. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and you can see the ridges from the horn as well, and that's the full length, because horn on the belly is something that withstands great amount of pressure, and the bamboo is something that withstands like tension, like stretching.
Okay.
So the way this works is this back is set on the tension, so the fibers are elongated, so to say.
So before you make that, it's bent the opposite way to what the bow would be. Right. Okay.
If you imagine like this bow is actually strung backwards, that's not something I recommend. But
I'll hold that.
yeah, sure. So this is the bow in not in its final stages, but when it's made, it is strung backwards just to get the tension right. Then
This is the same one you were showing me earlier, wasn't it? And then actually you flip it back
it's
on
right
itself.
over there. Yeah. So this is actually unstrung, and to string the bow, it should be bent the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Because you want to have tension on the string, tension on the bow. If I would put the string on it like that, there would be like almost zero force, for needed to draw it. So this rope is only needed for this layer to dry in the right shape. So this would be nothing, you won't even shoot a rabbit with it, or 10 meters, and the
You
arrow
better
would
throw
fall.
in your arrow.
Yeah. So just to show you guys what I mean. Sorry, I'm stepping out of frame, but
No, sorry. If
this
anyone's
is-
listening, go on to YouTube and
Yeah, this is why you should be watching it, not
Yeah.
listening.
so this is the shape when it's strung,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
so
okay.
you can see that.
And both those bows started the same way.
Yeah. This is a lot of pre-tension. So the string is already having a lot of force. So you can hear it,
Wow.
big difference. So this is the way a bow works, actually, stretching this material and compressing this side. And then you can draw it back, and the force needed is often measured in pounds. You know? So like a 30 pounds or 50 pound draw. At a certain distance, you draw it. So like 50 pounds at 28 inches. So the arrow would be 28 inches long, and then you'll have 50 pounds draw.
So what sort of poundage is that bow there?
This is 45 at
So that's 45
29.
pound, and it's maybe an inch wide by
Yeah. You don't need
maybe
much.
3/8 thick. Like
Yeah.
it's not a lot of material, is it,
No.
to create a lot of force?
Yeah. So that poundage is, I think, 28, 29. But the core,
29 pounds, 28 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the core is actually very thin. So it's a little bit more difficult, but you can always cut cores, So you don't need a lot of material to make a bow. So
No.
sometimes people buy like a yew stave. That's a type of wood that's very suitable for longbows.
Yeah.
And they'll have a big stave or a tree cut down, but the actual amount of wood that's ended up in the bow is very little, actually.
Right, okay. And use a very typical longbow
Correct.
material, isn't it? Because I know, obviously, the English longbows are a pretty famous bow for us, and they were all yew, weren't they?
Mainly yew from Italy or Spain,
Right.
but also from elm or ash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because yew is an expensive wood nowadays, but also in the Middle Ages.
Right.
So they would have to do, well, what they have, So ash is available in the UK,
Yeah,
I
of
think.
course.
So it's a cheaper wood, and it's it won't last as long, but it's a whole industry. So longbows made in the Middle Ages would be not somebody like me making one bow for one person. There will be a whole industry of bowyers,
Of course.
and makers of strings and fletchers and that sort of stuff. And the same in Asian cultures. You have whole industries of people making yumis or horn bows. It's not like one guy making for all the.
And it's important to
arches.
mention, you make all of the bow yourself, don't you? You do everything from the strings to it all.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to do it all?
Practice.
Man.
Did you have a mentor?
Yeah,
did you have
I did have a mentor. Yeah. Before I got into the horn and the yumi and horn bows sort of stuff, I went to the United States. There's a Dutch guy, coincidentally, who studied under a Japanese bow maker who makes yumis. And this guy named Jaap Koppendraaier. He's a well-known name in the
Very
archery.
Dutch name.
Very well-known name in the archery world.
Okay.
And he was doing yumi workshops where you could attend for a week to make a yumi. So I did that, and that was like 2015 or 16. And then we became friends because, two Dutchies in Georgia and the United States. I mean, that's...
Love Georgia. Big fans of
Yeah.
Georgia.
yeah, it's lovely. So I asked him, if I could come back next year, help him out with bamboo sourcing, cutting the bamboo poles and making cores and making loads of stuff. And he said, yeah, fine, come on over. You can stay over here. And I did that for a month and then came back the next year and the next year after that. So
Oh, wow.
I learned a lot.
That's cool.
From that period. And that's
awesome.
That's part of the reason why your learning curve is
Yes.
The trajectory is very steep.
yeah.
That's cool. And what about you now? Do you offer courses? Do you offer somewhere for people to learn in the same way you did?
I did in the past. At the moment, not, because I'm really working on lots of orders.
Right.
And
That's
maybe,
good.
it's good. Yeah. But maybe next year I'll do some workshops with the Yumi or a more simple type of bow.
Yeah.
Because next year I'm taking a leave of absence for about 5 months or something.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I'll be having more time. And
are you taking that to work on your bows?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite
That's cool.
scary, isn't it?
Yeah. That's cool.
You're just like, yeah, I'm just going to go and do it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, I have the time then, and I have the options now. So
Good.
that would be great. Yeah.
How many bows have you done? So 3 years is, let's call it 3 years since you started the company properly, like
Right.
since you decided this is now the. How
Yeah.
many bows do you think you've done in that time?
Man, I didn't count them all.
Lots.
Oh, yeah, lots.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
and,
really cool.
It's a
lots
real
of
need
arrows
for
as well,
Yeah.
and so if you look at that, like bamboo arrows for Yumis, and
They're all going to be used.
not
No.
all of those, but like an example of those arrows.
So typically you would make the bow and arrows. You do it all.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes people come to me and they ask for a bow and matching arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I do that because arrow making is underestimated. It takes a lot of time and
Oh, I can
effort to make
imagine.
a good arrow.
Mm.
Because you can buy the parts separately and put them together, but that will make the perfect arrow. And I wanna have that flight,
Yeah.
Of
like
course.
I've seen in Robin Hood, Lord of the Rings,
That
straight as an
historically
arrow.
accurate film, yeah.
That's why I
I don't
started.
want to have it flung like that. If you have a really good bow, you want a really good arrow. So that's why sometimes arrows take a little bit longer than normal or usually. Because I'll show you an example. Like this is a bamboo arrow, and bamboo, as you
Wow.
know, it's a plant that
Yeah.
doesn't grow perfectly straight. So you have to straighten it with heat and with clamps and
It's perfectly
bend
straight.
it. And yeah,
That is
it's
so straight.
pretty straight for an arrow that's 100 centimeter long.
Wow.
And not only that, it's also barreled taper. So
So what does that mean?
okay, so if you have an arrow shaft that is usually the same diameter through the whole length.
Yep.
So this is like 5/16 of an inch, like a 7.9 millimeter.
Yep.
It's the same on all on each end and in the middle. But the barrel taper is like a barrel shaped, so it's
Okay.
thicker in the middle and thinner on both ends. And it's something you can sometimes hardly see, but you can feel it, and you can also measure it, of course, with the caliper.
Oh, yeah.
And
calipers, yeah.
Calipers, yeah. So the reason for that is the aerodynamics involved.
Right.
So all arrows have a different strength.
Yep.
So that's called the spine.
The spine, okay.
The spine. So this is like a weak spine because it takes a little bit of effort just to bend it.
Yeah, this
No,
feels quite
and,
stiff.
yeah, that's a higher spine. So it's a higher poundage.
Looks quite fragile.
Yeah, it's not actually. So it's
Yeah.
a
No,
very
it
stiff
feels-
and tough arrow.
It just
So
looks,
typically you would, the higher poundage the bow, the
Stiff.
stronger the spine, stiffer the spine.
The stiffer the spine, yeah. The stronger, yeah. So when it's barrel tapered, it will stabilize quicker.
Okay.
It will be, aerodynamically better in flight.
Mm-hmm.
So it will travel further.
Mhm.
So if you look at
And
long distance,
presumably more predictable as well.
yeah, and it's more, it's lighter. So
Yeah.
I like light arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the long distance I shoot lots of 3D archery that's in the woods, and the distances are not known, so it's a target set up in the woods and you just have to shoot it without a visor, without
Just
any
guessing
marker,
distance.
just guessing. So if you have a light arrow that flies flat on a longer distance, it becomes a little bit easier
Less drop.
Less drop of the arrow, so a little bit easier to adjust or hit the target. With a heavy arrow, it would just go like that.
Yeah.
The trajectory is
Yeah.
different. So that's basically it. So these bamboo arrows are also barrel tapered.
So you're, because there's two, I remember learning, probably in history at high school, there's two typical types of archery, isn't there? There's up and over, and I can't remember what that's called. Used to always do it at those like away day, like school camp things.
I did it there, yeah.
And there's obviously like archery to actually
You mean
hit things.
cloud shooting and roving? Or?
Roving, I think, yeah, where they would that you're trying to land on something rather than shoot at something.
So that is actually like medieval style practice.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So typically a group of archers would go into the woods or in the countryside, and they will pick a point, say, okay, that tree over there we're going to shoot. Whichever arrow lands closest gets to pick the other point to shoot at.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little game.
Yeah.
But in essence, it's also practicing distance shooting, practicing. If you imagine if you have an army just behind the woods over there in the Middle Ages, you want to have your archers know what to do with the distance, how high to aim, how far to draw. The draws should be the same, but how high to aim, and then you learn from that. So that's kind of like golf, but then with a bow and arrow. Yeah.
Awesome.
Would you ever? We're going down a bow. We've gone off of making and we're now going into archery. Would you ever partially draw a bow, or do you always do it from full draw?
Well, archery to me is a sport where it's all about consistency. So you want your bow to shoot the same. You want your arrows to be the same. If you have a heavy or a light arrow, you don't know which arrow is going to hit the target or not. So you want everything to be matched to each other, the same. And also your mind, it's also a way to train your mind, actually, because it's something that shooting archery, it becomes easy to want to hit the target, but it's more difficult to do it correctly with the right technique. And it's difficult to do, shooting the right technique and maybe missing, than knowing that you're going to hit the target with this bad shot or anything.
Yeah, okay.
So you want the same draw length, you want the same technique, and that becomes very important in this sport.
And what's in your opinion, and everyone will have different opinions on it, what's the benefit of the traditional style bow over the modern compound with the cams and all the thing that looks like the bows these days look like they come straight off a spaceship. Let's be honest. Whereas,
I shoot them as well.
Yeah, okay.
And I like them as well, but I just think it's it's amazing just to have your own made bow and shoot them and getting to hit the target. And that's something that's, I feel proud of, with my own bows, but also it's something I don't think about, it's just, why not?
Yeah.
I make my own bows.
Yeah,
so,
quite.
and I also have those modern material bows. A friend of mine makes them as well. And it's just a different category. It's just, there are benefits both ways, So I really like the historical, the bamboo and the horn, that sort of stuff. Just because I love the feel of it.
Yeah. There must be something really satisfying about that as well, knowing that the way you're doing it now really is not that different from generations and generations and generations.
Yeah.
There really isn't any difference.
Yeah.
It's good that you're keeping those skills alive, like we always talk about. Like, would you teach your child to maybe make them if you wanted to?
Yeah, what happens after?
I have a kid.
He's 3 years old now. practicing a little bit of archery.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing anything, but just introducing him a little bit. And he really loves knights and shining armor and swords. So I make swords for him and bows, of course. So that's great. And
so very soon your back garden's going to turn into a Dutch armory.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Have you ever considered that, going into other historic weaponry or crafts, or is it just bows? You're obviously very attracted to the knights in shining armour, all that stuff. And historically, you're very well versed. Have you ever thought about picking up? I'm always interested, like craftsmen picking up other crafts, because we're also attracted by the making, right? And and like you say, making something that works. Have you ever thought about doing anything else?
Not really. No.
That's cool. That's good though, right?
No.
You found your thing.
Yeah, because there are people who make amazing stuff, and each has their own strength, I think. And I make bows and a lot of different types of bows, and that's already pretty intense or difficult. You have to solve problems every time you make a different design. And if I have my focus or attention on like making medieval knives or armor, that sort of stuff, it will be a whole different ball game. Have to start over.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, you would. You'd absolutely
quite
would.
Literally.
Yeah. So, with all these different kinds, obviously you went to study. When you went to study and do your work out in Georgia and help with those bows, he was making the Yumi bows, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about learning all these other techniques? Where are you picking all that up from?
Yeah, so I mentioned the internet before.
Yep.
Lots of things to find over there. Books as well. Like the book you see over there.
Yep.
Just reading, looking up images, going to museum, like in Istanbul, Topkapi Palace, and there's a French museum in Vienna I'm gonna visit soon. Lots of artifacts found in there, and a lot of people in the world are recreating those. Well, I say a lot, just maybe 20, maybe 20, but to me that's a lot.
Maybe 0.001% of the population,
correct. But you learn from them, and it's a small community. Everybody knows each other, and if you need help or anything, you can always shoot a message. I mean, I've had plenty of those, and I've sent some of those as well.
Yeah, cool.
So there are people making that sort of stuff, posting it on Facebook, posting it online, showing how it's done. And you can learn so much just by observing, as I said. So.
Well, when I came in with my camera, you were like, nothing's a secret here.
No.
Yeah, you're
that's
quite
a really nice attitude, yeah.
You're quite happy to share.
Yeah, but, if you have...
It'll take you a while to learn what I do anyway, so you're already ahead.
Well, that's another thing, if I'm gonna say, that's not for the camera to show, that's my secret.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to share my passion, and if you're confident about your craft, why would you need to hide it?
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly the same, because it's a mark of a really good maker that shares. And there's always going to be things that you don't share. I get that, and especially...
Of course, and I'm not going to share all the details because you'll be asleep in 10 minutes. So, you can go down to the tiny, tiny detail, but that's not relevant for a lot of people. So,
quite.
If you want to do some basic stuff, or there are tons of people who want to help you, and me as well, so no problem.
And where do people normally find you? Like, is it?
Yeah, you can find me on the website, but I'm currently reworking my web shop, or Etsy as well.
Okay.
So I redirect all my clients through Etsy at the moment, or you just send me an email.
Okay.
Just at bamboo.bows@gmail.com. It's not that
It's
complicated.
Great domain name, isn't
it?
Bamboo.bows. Brilliant.
So you just start from there, and there are a couple of designs I'm working on, like a Yumi Egyptian bow, the Orion
Yeah, that's it.
And like a longbow design, that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's like the main thing I produce and sell. Yeah.
Good.
So is there a world where you've tried loads of different bows now and now you just want to come into like the few that you really like?
Well, I always were interested in the double curve.
Yeah, okay.
So the double curve is like a gull wing shape. So there's a recurve here, a bend over here, and a recurve there.
Yep.
And lots of my bows have that kind of shape. So now I'm gonna string it up so you can see it.
It's cool. It's so nice.
See, every time you string one up, I'm like, that's the complete opposite way of the way I thought it was going to be. Every single time I'm like, oh, it's the opposite way.
Yeah.
So this is like when people are asked to draw a bow, sometimes they draw a simple line like a longbow, or sometimes they...
It's a D shape.
Yeah, like a D shape.
Everyone draws a D shape, yeah.
Or this.
Yeah.
And this is also a common design, you know. This is called a recurve. That adds a little bit of more speed and a different draw experience in the bow.
Right.
And a little bit of a backset handle. So these limbs have to work a little bit harder. So you have a lot of pre-tension, we call that. So it builds up immediately after the first inch of draw.
Right.
If you have a bow that you can easily do this without feeling any tension, either you're very strong or the bow is not good. So
right.
If you have like that,
so you want tension almost straight away.
Yeah. That's
That's
that sound. You know, you feel the tension. You feel that the arrow will have energy all the way long during the shot.
Oh, of course, because that is the only time that the arrow's got energy to accelerate, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to build up. So
if you've only got the last 6 inches of draw that you're feeling any force, that's only 6 inches that the arrow's
I'm
going to get.
not that technically educated to estimate that, but I like to think, you know, if you have a bow that is sluggish in the beginning, it's probably not that good. So.
Yeah, I hear that.
I was just going to, like, how do you ship something like that?
Yeah,
just out of curiosity.
So all my
Kate
bows...
wanted to order one for me from Christmas. how would you ship something like that?
Take it home with you now. So all the bows are unstrung, obviously, and I put them in the plastic sleeve that's closed off. So if anything happens, you know, if the box is left in a container for a week or something, I don't know, it's no problem because the moisture content will not affect the bow.
Right.
So it's all protected. And then it goes into paper wrapping, that's recycled paper in the box. Yeah. And ship worldwide. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And shipping's simple for it. It's shipped as a sporting good. It is what it is.
Yeah, sporting goods. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to create more tension on that bow, is it a thicker body, a thicker limb? It's a limb. This part's called the limb, right? What did you call this?
Correct.
The limb, right?
Yeah.
So you build a thicker core into that limb?
Yeah, so if you want a higher poundage, higher draw weight, you can put on a little bit thicker backing, thicker core, and thicker belly. So this is a 3-part laminate, so 3 parts make the limb, as you say. If I was working on a U-bow, like a English-style longbow, the whole bow would be a little bit thicker, wider. Just the wood would be a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I can play around with the thickness of the core or the thickness of the horn to estimate or determine the draw weight.
Yeah.
And all those customizations, you know, people want 30 pounds at 28 draw or 50, whatever. I have to adjust the core and taper it and shape the horn to accommodate that draw weight. Yeah.
You must have loads of notes. Loads and loads of notes. Because presumably everyone asks for something different, right? I'd imagine in the archery world, everyone knows exactly what poundage they want.
But the more you make, the more you know.
You just get to know.
Yeah, you get to, you know, like a funnel, you have to, you know, what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, of course.
So all these cores are tapered, and there's a special taper I use, which I made myself, like jigs, that sort of stuff. Wow. So to make it easier to recreate them, because, you know, it takes one thing to make one bow, but to make another that's exactly the same and performing the same, that's a little bit more difficult.
Do you ever get asked to do multiple bows exactly the same?
Rarely. Yeah. Sometimes people...
Some random army is just like, I need a hand.
Yeah, sometimes people ask for yumis, and they want 2 yumis, or like one in a heavier draw weight and one in a little bit less.
Okay.
That's a kind of a historical preference, because in Japan they would shoot in wintertime a little bit lower draw weight, and in the summer, in the wartime, a little bit higher. So,
really?
Yeah. That's also because the natural materials will feel a little bit different during the season. So if you're shooting on a hot summer day, the bow and the wood and the horn, in this case, will react a little bit different than in the wintertime, when it's cold and more humid, that sort of stuff.
And that all goes back to what you said earlier about archery being a sport of consistency.
Yeah.
Like if that changes, if the temperature changes, you could shoot completely different.
But your mind will adjust it.
Yeah,
so after a couple of shots, you'll feel no difference. So the difference is just so subtle. In the beginning, when you start doing archery, you will feel no difference at all.
Wow.
But if you're an experienced archer, you'll feel the bow drawing a little bit different during the summer or the winter. And that's not a problem. That's not a... It's almost like a feature of the modern instead of the modern materials. It's just how things work, in nature.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's so much to learn about. Again, going back to what you said at the start, such a simple thing. So much to learn about it.
The principle is so simple. It might take a lifetime to master, Like archery as well, It's not only bow making, but the shot as well.
Yeah. And you do practice archery as well, don't you? Like you are a keen archer as well as bow maker.
Yeah, I always shoot my own homemade bows in competition, and I'm gonna shoot next year with a fiberglass bow for one of the first time ever.
Wow.
So, but just for fun, As I said, a friend of mine makes those, and we like to interact and hand out, So
can I see the Orion bow there as well?
Yeah, sure.
So see all the stuff, like all the wrap and I notice a lot of your bows have got this bluey colour wrap, and is this all embellishment rather than anything else? Is this like historically accurate?
Is
People would embellish them.
Decoration? Another word
Yes,
for
yeah.
decoration?
So is this something that traditional bowyers? Bowyers is what you call it, isn't it? It's a bowyer.
Bowyer, yeah.
Is that something traditionally that they would do to...
So the rattan is typical for Asian style bows. So all the yumis would have rattan wrappings, as you see, kind of like over here. So this is a yumi bow, and you see at the handle and the tips.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, this is the yumi. It's 227 centimeters long.
Wow.
And it's a draw of 39 inches, 100 centimeters, something like that. Is that 39?
A 1 meter draw.
Yeah. So this is rattan wrapping, just for you guys to see on the tips as well. And that's typical for Asian style, or in this case, Japanese archery. And another thing the Japanese did
Can I lay this down this way? Is that okay?
Sure. Is wrap their bows in cotton or silk, for example, and then put lacquer over that. And the way that works is you'll have, this is an old bow, so it's gathering dust in my workshop. I'm not shooting this one, because this is a special bow. So this is also a yumi, but this is treated with urushi lacquer. That's made from the urushi tree. That's that's just like maple syrup.
All right,
but I wouldn't eat it because it's like poisonous.
Oh gosh, right, okay.
So don't do that, boys and girls. But urushi is a lacquer that is actually just raw tree
sap.
Yeah. And you can filter it and add coloring. And this is lacquered, and you feel all those ridges. Or how you call it in English?
Yeah,
ridges.
Ridges.
Yeah.
So that's a rattan wrap that's then covered in this.
It could be a rattan wrap. In this case, it's silk. And
that's silk.
Silk. It's all wrapped in silk, and then lacquered, and the lacquer is applied in 20, 30, 50 layers.
Wow.
And then polished in between layers.
That's a lot of steps.
It's a lot, yeah. And almost all the like the war bows used in Japan for warfare would have these, not necessarily the wrappings like this style, but a rushi, a lacquer on them to protect them for the seasons, for the weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a weather seal.
Yeah.
So you said that was a special bow that you wouldn't shoot. What's special about that one?
It's old. It's antique.
So this isn't one of your bows. This is a bow.
No, this is something I bought from Japan. It's not, so it's not something I made. It's just I saw this one and I thought, oh man, that's
special.
I want to learn how to do that. So this is why I bought it as an inspiration to try. Yeah, and so this is probably 80 or 90 years old.
Wow. And
also part of the reason I don't shoot it is you can see a little bit here. It has damage, so that's why they sold it. And so I wouldn't shoot it anymore, but you can use it for study.
Yeah.
Get the thickness, get the tapers, get all sorts of information from there.
Analyze it.
Presumably any tiny amount of damage in a bow, because they're under such high tension, would be catastrophic.
Not necessarily. You could maybe repair this and shoot it, but I mean, why would I?
Yeah, quite.
I mean, some things
one.
are just made. Not made to sit around in somebody's workshop, but just to explore and discover and not necessarily use anymore. You can repair bows, and I mean there are tons of historical examples of people restoring and fixing their bows because it's
that's what you had to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always easy in those days to get new ones, and it's a valuable asset. It's a valuable thing for somebody. So there are ways to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's not meant to be like a insurance that a rushi lacquer and all those wrappings that it won't break. It will still it can still get damaged. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They're quite an amazing thing to work on, aren't they, bows? Like, I'm absolutely fascinated by it. I think the fact that they haven't changed, I mean, obviously they've improved, but they haven't changed since whenever, is crazy.
It still works.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, wood still wood. It's bonkers. Is there any other designs that you've not tried yet that you'd like to try?
Yeah, you can see something of those designs back there. I actually started working on it a little bit, so but I haven't finished any Ottoman style bow, like a Turkish design. And they were renowned for their flight archery, so that's a different category of sports, and a lot of people think archery is target facing, 60 meters or something like that, but you have different disciplines. And they were famous in their day, like in the Middle Ages and in their heights, for long distance shooting. And they would have a very short bow, which the core is made, as you see there, pretty short.
So that's bow. Entirely of wood, isn't it? That's just one.
Yeah, that's different parts of wood. You can have a 3-piece core or a 5-piece, and you have to add like this the sinew and the horn. If you don't know what sinew is, this is actually beaten down fibers of the muscle. The sinew is
the tendon,
English,
the muscle,
the tendon,
the
tendon, leg tendon. And the leg tendon is then dried and pounded, and then you have all these fibers, and that is a great material to do horn bows with, because it's very flexible, because it's very well suited for a backing. So it can withstand enormous amount of strain, much more than wood or bamboo could.
And that's because this style of bow, with it being so short, you're pulling it so far back on itself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and the Ottoman bow is something that I would love to make. I just haven't had the time to work on a bow for myself.
Right.
And they would also shoot, those barrel tapered arrows we were talking about. So they would shoot very light arrows, like almost nothing compared to the draw weight. So
so when you say very light, what are we talking about in grams?
Like I always work in grains.
Okay, grains.
So about 200 a grain. 200 grain. So that would be a very light arrow. And I'm sure that there are people out there who shoot lighter arrows than that. And this the purpose of a light arrow and barreled is that it will fly faster and further.
13 grams.
13 grams.
200 grains is 13 grams. Wow. Yeah. That's light. And
I've never done that, but
with
no, it's a short arrow.
Right, okay.
So the arrows are basically 26, 25 inches long.
Right.
And I'm only guessing here because I've never even held one in my hand. Okay. So, but they would shoot those and they would draw actually beyond the bow. So the way that works is, we're going in.
Let's get into it. I'm here.
We're going deep. So the way that works is normally you would shoot over your hand or over some sort of like a hook or a riser. But normally you would shoot over your hand. And they would have a little plank. I've forgotten how it's called. But a little cipher, I think. A little board that goes over your wrist. Mm-hmm. And actually they would shoot the bow. And instead of stopping here, they would shoot it and draw it further over here.
So they pull it back beyond
the bow, because then you can have a short arrow that's more aerodynamic and for a longer flight and less weight. But you have more energy stored in that shot.
You also have more chance of shooting through the back of your bow.
Correct. So that's what makes it difficult. So not many people can do that or do that.
I can't imagine.
So that's a different ball game. That's flight shooting, and this is an Ottoman style. You can do flight shooting normal Western style as well, with thumb ring. That's no problem. But that's something I'd love to make, and I'm not sure I'm gonna overdraw the bow and shoot like that, but we'll see.
If we come back next year, you got a hole through your thumb.
There are people who shot, through their wrist, and there's a competition in the salt plains in Utah, in Bonneville. Each a year they'll have a world championship of flight archery. And there are a couple of guys who are amazing shots and bow makers who travel there and shoot their bows. And that, maybe if I got my work sorted out, I'll make a flight bow for myself and travel down there. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what we get.
Yeah, we're coming along. We're there. Let's do it. So you say shoot very long distances. What is a long distance?
Yeah, so the Ottomans had a record, and again, I'm not a walking Wikipedia, but
you're pretty close.
The shots, I believe the furthest shot they made was around 450 meters, I think.
Wow.
With a natural horn bow and the wood arrow. And they would have parchment veins, no feathers, but from very thin goat skin. Very stiff.
450 meters.
Yeah, and
that's wild.
Actually,
so when I went, for perspective, firearms training, I was shooting at 250, 350 and 650 meters.
Wow.
And that's in a 6.5 Creedmoor. Like, that's a bullet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And these guys were shooting at 400, 450. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
So it's not really a target. You have to hit.
I don't care. It's still 450 meters.
Long distance. Yeah.
Wow.
And with modern materials and modern designs, they would shoot over a kilometer. So like the
over a kilometer, like 1,000 meters.
Yeah, the compound bows, that sort of stuff. Yeah,
0.6 of a mile.
Yeah, and there are people who broke that record. The record of the Ottomans and the Sultan who made that shot for the first time, obviously, but with natural materials. So no fiberglass, because in the 70s and 60s, people made fiberglass bows and started shooting that, and then overshooting that record, but it's different class, different materials. So it's like
it's not like for like at that
crossbow
point,
and the rifle, It's a different thing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we talked earlier, next year you're looking to put on some classes for everyone that's listening to this that's super interested in bow making. What would a class look like with you?
Yeah, so there will be like a 4 or 3 day class with making a Yumi bow.
Nice.
That would probably be it. Maybe like an English longbow, but there are plenty of guys doing that. So
right, okay.
Yumi not so much. So I would love to teach people how to make Yumis, and we will be working 4 to 3 days. I'll have something prepared, like a core maybe, or we can start from scratch.
Yeah, okay.
And then
sign me up. Sign me up. Yeah. Put me on the list.
Right.
Just tell Kate how much it costs, and she can pay for it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you would come here. Do you think you need much experience for that to start?
Well,
get practicing.
Just if you can hold like a file, wood rasp, a cabinet scraper, you're fine.
Okay, I think you'd be fine.
That'd be alright.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
You're quite excited about that, getting to pass on the skills that you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, there are not many people who are working with those type of bows. I mean, as I said, working with long bows and that sort of stuff. I mean, many people do that. So what will be the relevance of doing the same thing, as everybody else? So I would not add anything to that conversation. So
yeah, cool.
That's why I thought, well, maybe a Yumi that would be fascinating, because a lot of people are fascinated by the design, and the asymmetrical shape and what goes into that. So as I was, a couple of years ago.
As I was when we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah,
like it's fascinating.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Do you think you'll manage to get many courses in next year?
We'll see.
What do you think?
We'll see.
What does it look like to you?
I have to see, because I have a son, as I mentioned, 3 years old. So I have to split my time between job here and family. We'll see. I think maybe 2 or 3 courses in the year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but that would be a lot,
Yeah.
It's a lot of organising, isn't it?
Yeah, and beside that, I have lots of orders. So I have to have my head straight in the right order to get the all things sorted out. Yeah.
The admin side behind it alone is a lot of work. That's cool.
Yeah.
And with the course, because you make your own strings and everything, don't you? You do it top to bottom, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Would you teach people how to do their own stringing?
Well, on a Japanese bow, that's kind of impossible.
Right, okay.
Because the Japanese bows use Kevlar and hemp strings.
Right.
So that would be difficult to produce. So that is something that is bought from Japan.
Yeah, okay.
But Flemish twist string or endless loop, that's something that's common on all other bows that we can do easily. Yeah, sure. So this is like a Flemish string. That's like 2 strands, and that's braided together at the ends to make a loop. And coming back, and you can see the fibers over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually very basic. It's not that difficult to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I have learnt so much about bows today.
You have, haven't you?
Well, I hope so.
I am suitably impressed.
You love technical stuff, don't you?
I just love things that have got a use case and a purpose after them.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for as well. Not something that's
just
a
on the
wall hanger.
Yeah.
Or that sort of stuff. Just use it. And I mean, just like arrows. I mean, you can make the most beautiful arrows, but they're meant to be used.
Yeah.
And it always sucks to break arrows or lose them, or even bows. Sometimes you don't know what happens. Sometimes some things can get damaged, whatever. But use it. If you don't use it, just.
That's what it's there for, right?
Yeah.
That's the point you made them for.
Yeah.
And that's really important to mention as well. You're making bows to be used, not to be wall hangers. Like there's.
Yeah, you could, but I mean.
Yeah.
Print out a picture then.
Yeah. I'll send you a photo of it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Amazing.
Courses next year, more bows next year. Anything else? What do you think bamboo bows grows into? Have you thought about that much?
Well, hopefully I'll be making more bows in a couple of years. It's always in the back of my mind, what will next year bring, and will people keep coming, that sort of stuff. But experience has learned that it's just keeping on growing and keep on expanding. And as I said before, you know, even if there's nothing coming in, I'll still be working here and doing my thing, you know, and that's what's most important to me.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really nice position to be in, because there's so many people that spend their whole life doing stuff they just hate.
Yeah, and then they're 60 years old and they think, oh man, I want to be a woodworker. Let's do a woodwork cabinet making workshop, whatever. And
wishing they'd done it
just
early.
do it, man.
Yeah, just do it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Good.
That's the Nike slogan, isn't it? Just do it.
Cut that out, please.
Copyright infringement. That's awesome, though, dude. I think you got a really cool thing going. Kate?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, what advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self? Oh, man. From the beginning, take yourself seriously. I mean, it's all fun and games where you're doing it for yourself. If you want to start, you know, for business, take yourself seriously from the get-go. Don't listen to people thinking, oh, you're just starting, you know, price is too high, or I want this and that. Can't you do that? No. Yeah. Don't stick to your own gut feeling and stick to your pricing. If you think, man, that's high, it's the right price, you know? Yeah. If you think, oh, that's maybe a little bit low, don't go there. Because, you know, if you don't take yourself seriously as a woodworker or a bow maker or any craft you do, I was an artist with a band, you know, for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I know what it's like in negotiating prices, that sort of stuff, you know. Set yourself high goals and high standards, and
that's good advice.
Take yourself seriously in that regard.
It's very true.
I think that's really good advice. I think one of the most common ills we see in the making community is people that underprice themselves for. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole world of makers, especially at the craft show, that they maybe are retired and they just do this on the side, so they don't need to make a living out of it. And then that lowers the price, and then the people that are doing it professionally, they lower their price.
Exactly, man.
Like, you're two different people and remain two different people.
Yeah, and it's... I can respect that for people, you know, who don't need the money asking lower prices. But, you know, in that regard, you're... Well, I don't want to say hurt, but you're
definitely damaging.
Undermining
undermining's a great word.
Other people, you know, who want to make it their business. And... I mean, it's all good, but if you want to do it for yourself, set your own standards and goals, and keep to that.
Because there is people out there that will pay it.
Absolutely,
you've managed to find hundreds of orders for bamboo bows, like that. We're hyper niche, right? And you've got people that love your work around the world.
But that's because you're passionate about what you do, and then it will come to you. And I mean, I've worked way harder here in the shop than on social media and on websites, and that's something that's on the side, and it's not my passion, so it will come to you.
That's cool.
Good. Well, it was so nice to meet you.
Really cool to meet you, especially after featuring you in edition 9 of the We Are Makers magazine.
Yes. I like how you've got it up there. It's cute.
It's but put it on there.
Yeah, I know.
It's cool. It's really cool. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this workshop in the coming years, having only discovered you 6-9 months ago, something like that. I think it'll be really cool. Definitely want to do one of your courses.
We'll keep in touch.
Let us know when it's all going live and we'll get it out there.
Yeah, amazing.
Dude, thanks so much for your time. I know that we've kind of slotted into the start of your day before you get on with everything else, but I've found this absolutely fascinating, both from a craftsman point of view and a historical point of view. Like
it's very different to me. Like, it's very different. Like, you know, we were saying we're going to see a bow maker, and they're like, huh, is that even a thing? They're like, yeah, it is. But
and the honest and harsh reality is, if there isn't people like you, we completely lose how to make these things.
A lot of
that are
is,
historically so accurate for eons.
A lot of it is like a reinvention of history, I'd like to say. So I'm going deep down again, but you know, these type of bows, we actually don't know how they were made exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have had replicas, we had actual found bows in tombs and graves and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But like a manual or molds or that
Yeah.
is forgotten or non-existent, you know.
Yeah.
So how did they do that? So lots of people already built steps on that, and you're just taking another step. From
That's something that plays on my mind a lot with a lot of the makers that we speak to as well, and it's the tacit skills thing. It's like we don't know how these were made. This is your best research and best work is to remaking that. Yes, we don't know, but that's because at some point they stopped making them. Like at some point, someone stopped making them, and then it skipped a generation or two, and then we've no idea. We're best guessing.
Yeah, or thousands
and that
of years.
could happen again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for like the makers and the crafts movement and people like yourself remaking them and trying to figure that out, it's just lost information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely gone.
Yeah. Yeah, part of the culture. Yeah.
Cultural as well, yeah. There's a lot of, especially in bows, there's a lot of cultural.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Ace.
Amazing.
Dude, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you guys as well.
No,
Lovely to meet you.
I know.
Yeah.
Very quickly, remind again, website, Instagram handle.
Yeah, so you can find me on Insta on bamboo.bows,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
Not sure, actually.
I think it's.
And the website is under construction, but if you want to visit my web shop in the future, you can
Yes, yes.
go to bamboo
Underscore.
slash
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Middle dash.
middle dash.
Yeah.
Bamboo middle dash bows.com.
Brilliant.
Or just Google and go to Etsy shop, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Or email me at bamboo.bows@gmail.com. Yeah.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Dude, thanks
Yeah.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate your time. It was awesome.
You as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wrap it
Cool.
at that.
Yeah. Go for it.
Quickly before we wrap it, how do people find out more about We Are Makers? And what do We Are Makers do? You
Yeah.
can do the ad speech.
We produce a really nice magazine which tells stories of makers all over the world.
Just like Tim.
Yes.
Just like Steph Tim.
Nice.
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 Fucking that up at the end.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, amazing. Thank you.